Ask God, ask the universe, do whatever. Put it out there. Put it out that this is what you want, and oftentimes you are going to get signs that, okay, you can get it, but you're going to have to leave certain people behind. Hey babes, I'm Madeline.
And I'm Deja.
And welcome back to the Elegance Exchange. So today we're going to be talking about understanding signs from the universe, or understanding signs from God, or whatever you believe. So this is, something that we never notice it in the moment. Truthfully, you never notice it in the moment. But then when you look back and you reflect on it, you're like, whoa. That was such a sign.
I know, it's kind of like those parts in the movies wherever like the characters like finally connect the dots and then they like come to that realization like
whoa.
It was always there.
Yeah. So, a great example of this is actually something that happened to me this week. It might seem kind of funny or kind of off topic, but, I have been looking to get my hair cut, right? And as you can tell, it's different. And the person that I usually go to, I love her, she's a great stylist, but she is always very booked and busy, which is amazing. But I needed it like super last minute, and I had to get my hair cut for something exciting that I'm working on. And so, she was booked, she couldn't get me in, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna have to go to somebody else. So I took a risk, and I went to somebody else, and I was like, okay, this is gonna be really good or really bad, I don't know. And I went this morning, and I got my hair cut, and might I say, this is probably my favorite haircut I've ever gotten, okay? And it probably looks a little messy because of the wind, but it's alright. But I just was sitting there, and I was talking to her, and we were just talking, and I was like, dang, maybe this was a sign that, I just needed to switch things up a little bit. Maybe I needed to branch off, and truthfully, that was a situation that made me uncomfortable because I'm a creature of habit. Oftentimes we love going to the same person because we know exactly what we're going to get.
You're kind of scared to like branch off and try new things.
So this was kind of a sign that, I needed to branch off and try something different, make myself uncomfortable, and deal with it. And I know that could be a silly sign for some people, but truthfully, you can ask Deja, I haven't felt this confident and good in months,
And that's the way it should be. Like, you should be able to feel confident. I can think of quite a bit of some examples because whenever you ask for it, like, it's not gonna be, that sign's not gonna be given to you like immediately. Like, you kind of have to like let it
marinate almost.
Yeah, you gotta let it marinate first. Like, you're not gonna see it immediately. But I know, what was it? Yesterday I went to a sea turtle, or not even that, but a few days ago, this past week, I've been really stressed out about school and like my calculus exam. And I'm over here thinking like, oh my gosh, like I'm not gonna pass. I'm gonna fail college. I don't have a life. Like my life's gonna fall apart. And then I literally got a notification last minute, and it was like, oh, sea turtle release, and it was literally the next day. And I was like, well, no, I can't go. Like, I don't think I'm gonna go because I have like other things to be doing, right? So then I fell asleep the next day. I woke up late, and I didn't make it in time for my calculus class because it's early in the morning, and I was like, oh well, shoot, like what am I gonna do now? And then there was the sea turtle release, so I was like, okay, like why not? Like I'm gonna go. I'll probably be a few minutes late. So then I randomly decided like last minute I was just gonna go to the sea turtle release. And then while I was out there, I ran across this really, really sweet lady, and we were just talking about life. And she was like, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, it's kind of different whenever you hear someone else say it. But she was telling me, and she was like, like life is meant to be lived, and you're meant to go and spread joy and energy to people. And then she was telling me, and she was like, I can tell that you were a really nice person because your energy was so sweet, and I'm like glad that you go and like have a really, really big mindset on life,
Absolutely.
And I was like, oh. And then like since then, I feel it in me. Like I know I'm just gonna travel the world. I may not seem like now, but like I know I am.
Right. Ask God, ask the universe, do whatever. Put it out there. Put it out that this is what you want, and oftentimes you are gonna get signs that, okay, you can get it, but you're going to have to leave certain people behind. You're going to have to go through certain hardships in order to become the person that you were meant to be. And truthfully now, I trust that, okay, if something bad is happening to me, if something really tough is going on, that it's going to get better. You asked me
100%.
Yeah, like if you asked me 2 years ago if, life had my back, if you know, I was going to grow and I was going to become this amazing person, I would have said, what the heck are you talking about? I'm going through the worst period of my life. You know, like, it was such a hard time and I was so depressed. And then now it's like, okay, well, if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't be doing this podcast. I wouldn't be sitting here with Deja. I wouldn't be the person that I am without that hardship.
Right? You're going to hit points in your life where you can be so sure about a path that you're on, and then, like, on a random Tuesday, like, that path is completely cut off, and then you're forced to go on another one. And then, like, from there, you can either do two things. You can, like, look back on the past and be like, what could I have possibly done? Or you can, like, dust yourself off and go down this new path and see what else is out there for you, because you're never going to know.
Right. If you fell off of a cliff, you're already at rock bottom. The only thing you could do is climb up. You know, you can't go into the ground unless you're dead. But, you
like,
know,
dig yourself a bigger hole.
No, exactly.
And then, like you were saying, too, like, there'll be, like, little... I know these past 5 months, like, I was going through, like, a really, really, really tough situation. Like, life quite literally hit me out of nowhere. Right? I can laugh about it now, but at the time, you know, I was not in the best spot. And, like, my favorite and dream car is a Camaro. So that was always, like, my happy thing. So, like, I would always ask, like, if things are gonna get better, like, please, like, show me a Camaro. Like, please let me know. Like, give me something. I kid you not, I'd tell Madeline, I'd be like, I see a Camaro. And, like, every time I was upset, that was when I always saw a Camaro. And, like, that's when I knew, like, you know, surely things are gonna get better. And they quite literally have gotten so much better.
We also play this game where we're like, okay, if we're meant to be famous, then show us, like, a bright neon yellow car. And every single time we ask, you know, something, for the most part, like, we see the car that we're describing, and we always do the most outlandish colors, like yellow or orange or, like,
purple,
the random ones that you don't see every day. And it's just such a sign, you know?
And it kind of makes you feel better, too. Like, you kind of, like, you know that there's bigger things, or you know that there's greater things coming. Like, you just need to get past these small little things, or these small things first.
Oftentimes, too, you need to take risks. You know, a quote that really changed my perspective was, you know, for the most part, you're in your 20s. This is the time when you should be, you know, living your life, taking the biggest risks, because you don't have kids, or at least most of us don't have kids at this point. We don't have, was that a sign?
A butterfly.
But you know, you don't have kids, you don't have a huge amount of responsibility yet, and you should truthfully be, you know, traveling. You should be taking the risks. You should be developing yourself.
Really stepping outside your comfort zone and not only learning more about yourself, but, like, learning more about your life and, like, the things you want to do.
Yeah. An example for me would be next week I'm going to New York, you know? And that's something that terrifies me because it's a big city. I've never been there. And I'm going for a very exciting opportunity. You know, if I didn't get into putting myself out there and becoming this type of person, I would have never gotten the opportunity that I'm about to face. And this opportunity scares the crap out of me. I'm terrified. I'm absolutely terrified. But you know what? If I didn't take this risk, I would never know. I would never know where it's going to go.
And you'll never know anything. Like I was saying, like, the path that you're going on, this new one, you're never going to know what's out there for you.
If you don't try.
Exactly. You have to go out there and see.
Yeah, another example would be Daisha and I think it was last year, we were trying to go to the Springs. Because we live in Florida, and so that's a very common thing around here. And on the way there, you know, we kept getting stuck behind these huge, like, tractor things because you have to drive through the country part of Florida to get there. And we were like, oh my gosh, this is so annoying. But I'm a little granny and I was driving, so I don't go around people. And, you know, we could not understand. We were like, oh, this is annoying.
And then, like, literally everything that could have gone wrong that day, like,
went wrong. We didn't even stay at the Springs because it was so busy.
And then, like I said, sure enough, like, it took us so much longer to get there because we were stuck behind all these random inconveniences. And then we get there, and it's, like, the busiest the Springs have ever been. It was loud. It was obnoxious.
Rap music was playing, and we were like, no.
No. And then, like, it was, like, the Springs looked like a community pool. Like, there were just people everywhere, and you could, like, hear it as you're going down the road. And it's like, no.
And we go to the Springs because 9 times out of 10 it's less busy than the beach. And we wanted, like, a nice little peaceful adventure. No. And so truthfully, that was a sign that, okay, you know what, we were getting our signs and we just didn't listen.
No.
And so when we got there, we wasted our time because we weren't taking the signs the way they should have been taken.
Or sometimes you ask for a sign and then you'll get a sign, but then you refuse to listen to it because you're like, oh wait, no, like that's just, that was just like pure coincidence. Most of the time it's not pure coincidence. Like I said, whenever I was going through stuff, I was always like looking back at it, I'll be like, oh well, that was obviously a sign. That was a sign.
You would ask me,
that
is
was
this
a sign.
And I was like, yes. But another thing, I was reading a book, right? And it was talking about how 9 times out of 10, the universe or God is going to test you. And you are going to be sent these tests. And, if, say, you are dreaming of this person who treats you amazing, is the best partner of your entire life, but you are constantly degrading yourself by getting with somebody who doesn't match your ideals or doesn't match what you want. Say they are known to be a cheater and you date them anyway. That's a sign from the universe seeing if you respect yourself enough to say, no, I don't want that attention. I don't need them. I know what I want. That's a sign. And so it's not going to send you what you want until you show that you are ready for it. That's just that honestly was an eye-opening experience to me, because at that point I started looking at things where, if people I didn't like or didn't respect me started reaching out, I know that they don't treat me well, I would be like, I'd be kind of distant, or I would just not, I would respond, but it would just be, flat. That was, I always feel guilty about that, okay? I do. And so I started looking at it as, okay, well, that's a test from the universe saying if I'm, respecting myself enough to say no to these relationships or to say no to that interaction because I know it's going to hurt me in the long run.
Yeah. And, that's not something you want. You don't want to be given a test and, you fail it and then it's like, well, you've learned another life lesson. No one wants to learn a life lesson twice. I definitely don't. I hope, and I hope that to this day and moving forward, some of these life lessons I've learned already, I don't have to learn them again. I hope to think that I've learned a lot from them and I don't have to be tested again.
There was something that I went through and I was like, oh, that's a life lesson. Oh, my car got robbed.
That'll do it.
And I'm pretty good about, locking my car, but I guess this one day I was carrying in groceries and I just completely forgot. And, I had always had that mentality of oh, well, that could never happen to me. That would never happen, blah, blah, blah.
What are the chances of that happening?
My life lesson right there was okay, things can happen to you. You need to start being more aware. You need to start doing this because truthfully, that's a life lesson. That's a sign. I was getting too content. But yeah, I know this was a bunch of personal stories and personal reflections, but truthfully, that's the best way for us to get it across to you of what we're feeling and, how it's truthfully changed us and helped us.
And everyone goes through something. Everyone goes through something at some point in their life and they always, then they'll look back at it and be like, oh, well, that was a sign, you learn from it and then you move on.
Absolutely. So hopefully this episode, helped you reflect and understand that sometimes, while things do suck and things are, not always bright and happy, it's all it's just gonna make you a better person in the long run.
And if you see signs, don't ignore them. If you potentially even think oh, is this maybe a sign? Then take it.
Learn from it.
Literally take it. Trust your gut and just go with it.
Yeah. So with that being said, we are on a bunch of different social media platforms.
We're on TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, and Instagram. And it's all at the Elegance Exchange. Our most popular ones is TikTok and YouTube. We're always on those, and we're always
checking the comments, looking at what you guys tell us. Truthfully, it makes our day whenever you tell us oh my gosh, this is so relatable. I understand what you're going through.
Even just giving us feedback too, oh, can you talk about this topic and this topic, or I'm struggling with this and that. Even that's kind of
we always need topic ideas.
Yeah,
we always do. We do 2 episodes a week, people. We can cover whatever you want. So yeah. All right. With that being said, we love you. Bye, babes.